the Walther M1 5-inch PPQ. Let's check it out. Today we're going to take a look at the Walther PPQ, but it's not their standard PPQ, and it's not the M2. It's the PPQ M1 with a 5-inch barrel, but that's not where it stops. We're going to be looking at some exclusives from Gunbuyer.com with their Walther 5-inch series. There's different barrel colors. It goes back to the regular M1 paddle, which I love, and the more I use it, the more I love it. And here lately I have been testing out a lot of the 5-inch long slide variation pistols, and I'll tell you what, guys, I don't know that there's one that'll beat the Walther PPQ M1 in the 5-inch. It is a sweet shooting gun. The balance is about perfect. Now, the Mark 1 5-inch PPQ is only available at Gunbuyer.com. We're going to look through a lot of the features, but one of the big ones is they offer a number of different PVD coated titanium nitride barrels. And with the slide cuts here, it's a really beautiful system. You can get it with a standard barrel, but they have a lot of colors to choose from. Walther introduced the PPQ in 2011 and added it to their line, which this is really a gun that is an improvement over the P99, which we did a full comparison between the two, which they're still both on the Walther lineup. But one of the big things that the Walther PPQ did was its trigger is just fantastic. In fact, it's well known for it. When they first came out, they were by far the best striker fire polymer frame trigger on the market. Now, it started a revolution, and there's some other companies now that have begun to produce really good triggers, the HKVP9, the CZ-P10C, and of course there's a lot of aftermarket triggers as well. But this really started kind of a revolution. The lines are very modern looking. Of course, Walther quality is just fantastic. And you know, you have your standard pistol. Now, I know Walther is just coming out with a concealed carry model for this, which will be popular as well. But one of the things that a lot of people are starting to go to are the long slide versions. And that's been going on for a good while. But it just seems like the community is growing. Not only for competitive shooters, which really that's where these really shine the most, but also for, you know, going out to the range and accuracy. It has a longer sight radius. You know, it just is a fun gun to take to the range. It's great for home defense. You can put a lighter laser on here and really make this a formidable handgun. But one of the things that they did was come out with the Q5, which has the RMR cuts, and you know, it's got a lot of porting that goes on. But one of the things that a lot of people really missed with the original Walthers, that the original Walthers had, was the ambidextrous paddle mag release. And here you see how easy it is just to pop that mag, even with your trigger finger. And it is ambidextrous, of course, you know, bring it even there. It's a very easy design. Now, one thing though is that there was some resistance because Americans are used to using this standard mag release right here behind the trigger guard. I mean, that's what we've been doing for a long time. But me and a lot of others have really begun to love this magazine release style. Guys, honestly, I would prefer to have the paddle mag release. I mean, that is, I've become used to it. I love it. And I definitely have a lot of guns that don't have it. But I'm glad that Walther was going to the M2 style, and this is the M2, back to the M1. In fact, they have their classic PPQ, which has the paddle release, and of course they have their M2s. Now, one thing though that a lot of people were calling for, especially in a 5-inch, was a paddle release. So Gunbuyer.com saw the real need for a return to the paddle mag release for the 5-inch slide versions, or the 5-inch barrels. And there was a lot of call for it, and so they decided they wanted to work with Walther and run an exclusive on the Gunbuyer.com website, which is a huge gun distributor, gun online website. Now, obviously, it doesn't have the RMR cuts, which helps with price. While the RMR cuts are becoming very popular, there's still a lot of guys that would really rather just have the regular sights. It does give you a really long sight radius, and guys, with that fiber optic front sight, it is so easy to pick up. We're going to take a look at some of the basic features of it, because I do have a Walther PPQ full review, and we're not going to get into too much of the detail, but I do want to point out some things about this handgun. First thing we're going to do is make sure the gun is unloaded, drop the magazine, and check the chamber, and it's empty. You get a 15-round magazine, but you also get a 17-round magazine with an extended base plate, and that just slides right up into the magazine well. It doesn't add really a lot to the grip, and it gives you another finger groove down there if you want it. So you get 2 magazines to choose from. And there's porting right here at the top of the slide, and it does have this little area that comes out and thins down at the front. Front slide cocking serrations, of course, with the Walther logo, and then rear, and then the same on the other side without the logo. The grip is one of the most ergonomic grips out on the market, just like the P22. To me, the first time I got one, I was like, oh, this is beautiful, and so is the PPQ. This is no different than your standard PPQ, of course, without the mag release right here. And then we have a 1913 Picatinny rail with 3 slots. This gun is fully ambidextrous, not only the mag release, but also the slide release or slide stop on both sides. So this gun is fully ambidextrous. Of course, no frame mounted safety. The sights, we did talk about the fiber optic, but the rear is a nice 2-dot, and it's a really good contrast. And the slide is a Tenifer finish, which is renowned for keeping down corrosion and wear and tear. But they're also offering PVD finishes on the barrel. This is in the bronze. This is a titanium nitride finish, and these are, almost indestructible. We have shot this thing like crazy, and it has not shown anywhere whatsoever. It comes in a number of different colors. Now, one of the things that Gunbuyer.com, when they got in touch with me, they asked me about, what I would like to do to review it and which color. I picked the bronze. And then they got back in touch with me and said, look, we want to send you all 5 pistols for you to show the different colors. We're definitely going to be sending these back. But in fact, I'm up at Wheaton Arms. I just left them up here so I could show you the different colors. Now, this is called their slate gray. And it's got a nice contrast, not quite the black. Here we have the gold color. You can see that it's coming through the ports. Makes a really nice contrast. A lot of guys, especially if you like the salient arms, but that black really looks good. And then here, last but not least, this is called the white gold. I thought it was kind of like a titanium. Again, you can see it through the ports and then at the end of the barrel. So, there's a number of different colors. And of course, we've already looked at the copper color and then the standard black. Now, as far as size comparison with the standard PPQ, here you can see, of course, that you have that extra length at the end, but otherwise everything else is pretty much the same. Standard Walther PPQ, 1 pound, 8.2 ounces. The PPQ Mark I 5-inch barrel, 1 pound, 10.6 ounces. Now, the Walther PPQ is legendary for its trigger pull. Gonna look at the action. Very smooth take up. A nice, crisp snap. I know I say that all the time, but it is. Reset right there. That is a super short reset. Checking the trigger a number of times, I came up around the 4.5 pound mark, which Walther says that it's 5.65 pounds. So it's considerably less. That's just beautiful. The Mark I Walther magazines will not work in the PPQ because of the way that the cuts are. So when you put them in, not going to stay. One of the reasons, and you can see here how the cut is at the top for the Mark I, and for the Mark II, of course, it's on either side. With the Mark I, you can change this around to the other side, but it's not ambidextrous as far as on both sides. Of course, fitting on lights and lasers, it makes it almost natural because the barrel is already long, so it doesn't stick out in front of the muzzle as much. It's still just a touch here, but definitely is right at home with this little Olight Valkyrie. But guys, to me, one of the big surprises was when I got it out to the range. The balance of this handgun is just excellent. I want to thank Freedom Munitions for supplying the ammo. You get a 5% discount using Such00 on the Freedom Munitions website. Also, if you don't have a Lula loader, it'll save your hands. Guys, we spent 2 full days at the range with the Walther M1 5-inch PPQ. One of the things about this pistol, and I've shot a lot of long slides recently, over the past year. I'm not a competitor. I used to be years ago, but I just don't do a lot of competitive shooting. And, you know, they just don't really trip my trigger. I do understand all the reasons for it, and it does make a great home defense gun if you want to use it for personal. But one of the things about this pistol in particular, number one, it is one of the best looking long slides I've seen. I mean, the way the lines and everything about it, but the balance is even better. For some reason, these guns just nestle in your hand, and with that longer slide, it just gives it a really good balance. And then add on top of that the fiber optic front sight, and it's so easy to get on target. Now, one of the big draws for this handgun is that it retains the paddle ambidextrous mag release. To me, this is one of the fastest ways to get magazines out of your gun. You don't have to adjust your grip at all. You can take your trigger finger and just hit it and it pops out. You know, it does take a little getting used to if you're only used to hitting that side mag release on the grip. But I have ever since the first time I ever used one. I loved it. And it just makes it very simple. It's funny, when I bought my standard PPQ, I bought one of the Mark IIs, and you know, a guy kind of talked me into it. And honestly, I've always regretted it because I really like what this does and what the H&K does as well. As I sit here and clear out the magazine, I enjoyed that. Now, as far as disassembly, drop the magazine, check to make sure the gun is unloaded, pull the trigger, pull down your tabs, and then just remove the slide. Recoil spring, and that's a very unusual with the red spring. Also, with our barrel. Now, you can see that it is a little bit dirty, but the finish is still just excellent. Even where it hits the hood, the barrel hood, I mean, it's just, there are no marks on this barrel. It's really phenomenal. I took the rag, just wiped it down. I didn't even use anything to clean it up. And you can see there are just no marks, no mar anywhere on the barrel. We shot both of these pistols at the range, and we probably went through about 750 rounds. So this probably has about 350 or plus rounds through it. And it's just going to hold up excellently. Of course, getting just a peek of the interior. And guys, there's one thing about Walther. I mean, it's just an excellent company. Of course, they've been around for a long time, and they're just meticulous about the quality. You will notice that the rib at the top, and this keeps glare down. Of course, you've got that long sight radius, so it's probably going to help. Now for reassembly, drop in your barrel, recoil spring and guide rod. Put it back on the frame. And you're ready to go. Now on the Gunbuyer.com website, these start out at $569 for just the basic model without the PVD coating. When you get into the coatings, there's a couple that start out at $629 and it goes up to $699. You can go to the Gunbuyer website and check it out as far as the different pricing. Again, it does come with your 15 and 17 round magazine, so it gives you a lot of capacity. But these guns are made at Walther. So then they're just giving this exclusive to Gunbuyer.com. And so this is the place to get them. And if you're looking especially for that ambidextrous mag release, that to me, I love it. Pros and cons of the pistol. Pros first, the balance is just beautiful. I mean, it is a beautiful thing. You'll know it when you pick it up. If you're used to shooting Walther PPQs or just handling them, they're very ergonomic, which Walther seems to have a really good grasp on being ergonomic. Also, with the long slide, you get a longer sight radius, but really the big thing for this pistol to me, what really struck me the first time I shot it, was the balance and just how it naturally points. It's easy to transition from target to target. This would be an excellent gun for, you know, competitive shooting. Now, it doesn't have the RMR cuts, and you know, you can get the Q5 for that. But if you're looking, which a lot of guys are looking for guns without the RMR cuts, and this is one of the guns that I would definitely choose. But this would also make an excellent home defense gun. Again, the balance would really come into play. As far as cons go, really it's just a bigger gun for concealed carry. This would be a very large pistol, which that is, again, it's just a large pistol. And if you're wanting something smaller, definitely the PPQ or the new compact that they've just come out with this year. So there's a lot of different variations, but the funny thing is, and one thing that I saw on one of the Walther commercials was that they said they can't keep the 5-inch guns in stock. And so because they are just in such high demand. And these are great shooting guns. This is a perfect range gun if you want to go out and really test out your accuracy and just the natural feel of shooting the gun. This would be a great one to pick up. So really, just beside it being not suitable for concealed carry, this is an excellent gun, and definitely the trigger is one of the big pluses for this handgun. Walther PPQ triggers are some of the best on the market. And I want to thank Gunbuyer.com for sending the pistols for the test and evaluation. And so go by and check out their website. They've got a lot of great prices and great specials. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. This new Walther PPQ M1 5-inch. So you get 2 magazines, but a lot of people have started really loving this. Okay, I don't want to get into that. What kind of bull crap? One of the reasons is because of competition. You know, this gun is such a natural pointer, and honestly, it really surprised me. Of course it did. Here's you.